But the next fight that's coming up, looking like it's going to have a lot of action there as well.
Right, another set of young guys here. Featherweights, actually at Pinnacle FC12. 1-0 Dillon Weston taking on the debut Dillon Youngblood. And we're going to keep things moving here and send it back up to Jake Digman to bring these guys out.
The following contest is an amateur bout in the Pinnacle FC Featherweight Division, and it is brought to you by True Image Tattoo. Introducing first, making his way down the aisle into the blue corner, please welcome Dillon Youngblood.
Jesse, as we mentioned early on in the night, you see the young guys, the new blood, and a lot of times it's kind of a toss-up. You don't know what you're going to get from a young guy. Dillon Youngblood was set to make his debut on a show that was canceled in early October and now moves here to Pinnacle FC and does finally get a chance to make his debut. Genesis MMA, Altoona, Pennsylvania. We had a chance to talk to him. He was an interesting guy, a high school wrestler, but says he wants to strike in this fight.
Yeah, he said he doesn't have a whole lot of game plan. He likes to stick and move. He likes to try to stay technical, but he doesn't necessarily have to go in with any sort of a game plan. He's going to take what they give him and try to take advantage of that and exploit it.
Right, he said he knows his opponent, Dillon Weston, is a wrestler, so he's definitely going to try to keep things standing in this fight. Just 22 years old here, making his amateur debut. And it's interesting to note a lot of these guys from Central Pennsylvania now are starting to make their way over here to Pittsburgh as some of the promotions over there really start to die down. And a lot of these young guys, as we'll see later on in the card, another guy from that area, Charlie Gathers, is a very exciting fighter. So they have kind of that blue-collar mentality a lot of times over there in Central Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, some of those promotions down there are just kind of sort of fading away, and they're migrating more over here to Pittsburgh and Pinnacle FC because Pinnacle FC does continue to put out a good product and good fights. And just like tonight, we got 10 great bouts and one already under our belt, and hopefully this is a great one as well.
Right, as we mentioned, Genesis MMA as Dillon Youngblood makes his way into the cage here at Pinnacle FC12, and we're going to have Jake Digman bring out his opponent.
And his opponent, making his way down the aisle into the red corner, please welcome Dillon Weston.
And you hear the crowd ovation for Dillon Weston here, training with the Mat Factory in Lower Borough, Pennsylvania. And if that sounds familiar, that's because his main training partner is Dominic Mazzata, who we will see later on in the main event. And Dillon Weston is an interesting character, has a comedian background, also as an actor, and we'll take a look at the tail of tape. That doesn't show up on the tail of tape, but what does, Jesse?
Well, I'll tell you what doesn't show up is he's a great boxer. He helps out with the kids at the local gym. He teaches the kids BJJ program at Mat Factory, and like you said, he's a great guy. He's a good comedian, and he's got a great attitude.
Right, a very even matchup here. You see the pair of 22-year-olds, 0-0 versus 1-0 Dillon Weston, and Weston said that training with a guy like Dominic Mazzata really takes a lot of the pressure off of him and builds his confidence. As you see Mazzata standing there in the background, also Chris Dempsey, who is a UFC fighter. But he said that really helps build his confidence, being able to train with a guy like that day in and day out.
Yeah, if you're a local fighter from the Pittsburgh area, it's going to be really tough to find a better training partner than Dom Mazzata. I mean, like we mentioned earlier, Mazzata's a black belt, great person to train with, and Dillon even mentioned they're great friends. They even feel like brothers. They go to church together. They do everything together. You know, he said they're together 8 days a week.
Right, we have the Battle of the Dillons, and we're going to send it up to our friend Jake to introduce these guys.
The following contest is an amateur bout in the Pinnacle FC Featherweight Division, and it is brought to you by True Image Tattoo. Introducing first in the blue corner, he fights out of Altoona, Pennsylvania. He weighed in at 145 pounds, representing Genesis MMA, making his MMA debut. Please welcome Dillon Youngblood. His opponent in the red corner, he fights out of Butler, Pennsylvania. He weighed in at 145.5 pounds, representing the Mat Factory with an MMA record, 1 win, 0 losses. Please welcome Dillon Weston! This bout is scheduled for 3 2-minute rounds, and when the action begins, your referee is Chip Snyder.
All right, you see Dillon Youngblood in the blue and white, Dillon Weston in the black, Chip Snyder, third man in the cage. Jesse, we are set to go here, featherweights at Pinnacle FC12.
How about Weston's stare on that introduction? He is in the zone, and I like it.
And no glove touch here between these two young fighters. You see Wesson already fainting here early. Weston comes out southpaw, lands a straight left hand, making Youngblood put it on the bicycle already. As Weston inside on the body lock, gets a nice slam, already in side control. And as we mentioned, they cannot throw to the head here, only to the body in this novice amateur division.
And this is right exactly where Weston wants to be. He wants to keep this on the ground and really dominate where he's most comfortable.
And you can see the amateur wrestling background here of Dillon Weston as he locks in, has the left hook, has the. I thought he had both hooks in as he's looking here for the rear naked choke.
Yeah, he's putting that neck out there a lot. He's going to have to be real careful, especially with a very experienced grappler here like Weston.
All right, Weston has Dillon Youngblood here in a turtle position as he's looking to land some strikes to the body. Nice elbows to the body there as well. Weston again looking to sink in those hooks, but Youngblood staying tight, doing exactly what he needs to do. Needs to hit this switch out of here. Turn off. He says he has some wrestling, and Youngblood turned over to his back. Weston really having his way with Youngblood here. Looking for this north-south choke here.
He gives up on that quickly. Youngblood kind of looking a little bit lost here on the ground, but that's not too hard to get with such a grappler here.
Right, doing the smart thing of clasping his hands here against this north-south choke. That's the easiest way to not get choked. But Weston looks like he has this completely locked in. Jesse, how does he finish this?
You just got to keep applying pressure. One of those things about chokes is you don't want to give up on them. Every time you feel like your arms are going to want to burn out, you want to kind of just keep pushing if you can.
10 seconds left to go here in the first round as Weston looking to finish this north-south choke, and Youngblood looking to turn into him. Good hips there from Dillon Weston. And it's hard to score these 2-minute rounds, Jesse, but it looked like that first round was all Dillon Weston.
I can't see that you would score it any other way. I mean, let's be honest. Weston buried him on the mat and kept him pressed the whole time. Youngblood doing what he can to try to get some offense generated, but it wasn't panning out. Weston sunk the hips. He kept the pressure high and worked a submission.
Right. We saw Weston land that straight left hand and then shoot in immediately for that body lock, getting the takedown, and the rest of the fight was on the ground, exactly where Dillon Weston wants it to be. Nice slam here from Dillon Weston.
And Weston's striking was pretty impressive right up front. I mean, you were looking for him to kind of come in and take it to the ground, but to be honest, he set that up beautifully with throwing those big jabs.
Right, and the one thing that I always say is if you can throw a 2-punch combination in amateur MMA, most of the time you can go 3 or 4-0 just by being able to throw more than one shot at a time, and Weston definitely has that ability.
Well, hopefully Youngblood gets some good advice here in between rounds, and he's able to generate something a little bit better offense-wise and score some points.
We're set to go here for round 2. Amateur featherweights, Dillon Weston taking on Dillon Youngblood. And Weston really loves that straight left hand. Leads with it. Weston has him up against the cage here, looking for the trip takedown. Finishes the single leg already in side control. As Youngblood looking to throw up his legs here off of his back. Youngblood stands up. Good move for him. He definitely said he wants to have this fight standing, but Weston looks comfortable on the feet. Really just picking his shots, lands that right hook there over the top. Another clinch that actually that time was pushed by Dillon Youngblood.
Let's go, let your hands go! Let your hands go! Wait.
And Youngblood's corner here right next to us absolutely screaming for him to let his hands go. He seems to be a little bit hesitant here in this second round. And that's a product of getting punched straight in the mouth.
Yeah, and plus that grappling takes so much out of you. There's a different kind of cardio that comes with grappling versus just that stand-up.
Weston shoots in on the hips, another double leg takedown, and that shows the difference of the wrestling caliber because he didn't even need to set that one up to finish it.
And you can really see here in Youngblood's eyes, he's kind of getting a little bit tired, and Weston's really starting to grind him out.
Weston here in side control, looking to get that underhook on the opposite side as Youngblood doing a good job here trying to shrimp back in and regain guard. But Weston just uses that just to step over and pull him out. And this a lot of times is where you'll see guys posture up and throw strikes and look to try to maybe slide over for an arm bar or have the guy turn his back and sink in a rear naked choke. Weston dominating here in the second round. 10 seconds left to go. This battle of amateur featherweights here at Pinnacle FC12. Shots to the body here from Weston and Jesse. More of the same here in the second round. We saw a little bit more striking there from Dillon Weston, but what are you saying if you're in the corner of Dillon Youngblood?
Well, he's definitely down two rounds to none. He's got to finish here if he wants to win. He came out opening that round with a jab, and it looked like it sort of surprised Weston there a little bit, but he just wasn't able to capitalize on it. If I'm in Youngblood's corner, I'm telling him he's got to get in and get something going with the hands and try to finish the fight.
Right, and we're looking here. In this round, it looked like Weston was willing to strike a little bit more as he grabs that clinch up against the cage. Really good head position here from Dillon Weston. This is going to be that trip takedown that he landed early in the first round. Finishes the single, already in side control. And that's the advantage of having high-level wrestling heading into a mixed martial arts fight.
And it should be noted here that Youngblood isn't doing bad on the ground. It's just that he's not able to generate any offense from it. He's obviously surviving. He's not giving in any submission attempts. He's just not able to capitalize on anything to hit any sort of transitions or sweeps to get back in offense.
All right, round 3, here we go. Just 2-minute rounds here for the amateur novice division. And Weston again inside on the clinch. Gets another takedown, and the benefit of that is he's already in side control. He already has the ability to move, so he doesn't have to pass once he gets to the ground.
It looks like he's going to be trying to work again on that north-south choke, but a little bit of hip pressure there or hand pressure there from Youngblood to try to avoid that.
This is where you talk to your young fighters and hope that they are pressuring and really trying to finish this. He has a key or a Kimura on the opposite side here. Maybe look to step over to try to finish this.
Yeah, it's not impossible to finish. You have to be real strong and tough in this position, but it looks like he might get it.
Yeah, and looks like Youngblood tapped. It looks like he's tapping here.
A little.
He's not.
I would have called that a tap.
Yeah, he's tapped. It looks like a couple of times. As Weston has that, and he's tapped. He has the hand.
Too,
yeah, there's the third tap. And Youngblood looked like, at the very least, that he wanted out of that fight once that Kimura was locked in.
Yeah, once the Kimura got locked on, the kind of, I don't want to call it a fake tap, but it kind of looks like he wanted to and thought about it, and then finally Weston was able to kind of crank on it a little bit and apply enough pressure to get the tap.
Right, and good job by Weston there, not stopping until the referee pulls him off. As you see, he had the body scissor, and there you see the first tap. And Chip Snyder finally does call it. Dillon Weston, though, is going to be a name to look out for here in the Pinnacle featherweight division. As we mentioned, actor and comedian outside of mixed martial arts, but also a guy who can go in there and really have his way with his opponents in the cage.
He's definitely somebody you're going to want to write their name down to and keep an eye on. Obviously a great fighter, great physical attributes. You saw him demonstrate all of that tonight. But honestly, like you said, off the cage, the guy's just a joy to be around and talk to.
I believe we have the official results, so we're going to send it back up to Jake Digman. Dillon Weston moves up to 2-0 here.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Chip Snyder calls a stop to the action at 1 minute and 5 seconds of the third round, declaring your winner by Kimura submission, Dillon Weston!
Weston gets his opportunity to talk to Dave Click.
Dillon Weston from the Mat Factory. Great combination of wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Did a great job of listening to your coaches in the corner, I noticed. Excellent job dragging away from the cage for the finish, man. How you feel? Great debut fight, man. Great fight.
I feel good. I feel real good. It's been a long camp. I've had 3 fights in the last 3 months. Lots of training. I felt really good. Ready to take a break and coach my kids. I'm ready to coach Mat Factory Youth, and it was a lot of fun, and I hope they inspire me, man. Those kids are tough. I love my kids at the Mat Factory. Thanks for coming.
I knew when I saw you at the Smoker at Fight Club Pittsburgh, I saw the display you put on there. I had a feeling you'd make a good debut tonight. Dillon Weston from the Mat Factory. Congratulations.